benefits are really important. But I do think that education is required on what is available in the market today for acquiring an electric vehicle. I think there are more obvious incentives that are available, such as the grants that are available for the upfront cost of an electric vehicle, but also the upfront cost and installation of charging infrastructure. Essentially this helps reduce that initial burden around procurement. And I think interestingly, earlier this year there was a sudden reduction in the grants program, which caught many fleet managers by surprise. But we did see a correction in the market with some of the OEMs reducing the sticker prices of electric vehicles that were coming to the market to meet the new threshold. But at the same time, the cost of electric vehicles are declining, and we are going to see a number of new electric vehicles come to market over the next 12 months, and that's further going to help increase the availability of electric vehicles, but also bring them to market at a competitive price point. Some of the less known benefits include the recent emergence of EV salary sacrifice schemes that essentially enables company drivers to acquire an electric vehicle at a really competitive price point, and typically with no initial upfront costs to make on the vehicle. And this is because of one, lease payments are made from the gross salary, so there's no income tax deductions or national insurance deductions. But also the preferential rates of benefit in kind for battery electric vehicles today is 1%, or the current financial year is 1%. And this makes them particularly attractive in comparison to internal combustion vehicles. And so I think there are a number of ways in which EVs can be acquired, and I think it's important for businesses to take into consideration all of the incentives, the grants, the initiatives that are available within the market, especially when they're looking at doing some financial modelling around future fleet procurement. Although EVs tend to be slightly more expensive from an upfront cost perspective than internal combustion vehicles, they can be cheaper to run over the long term because of one, EVs benefit from a reduction of mechanical moving parts in comparison to internal combustion vehicles, and this is translating into reduced costs over the total cost of ownership period. However, obviously at some point electric vehicles will require some sort of maintenance, whether that be from a tyre perspective, brakes, or even battery repair. But today this is seen to be a particularly rare scenario around replacing a battery or repairing a battery. The battery pack is one of the most expensive parts of an electric vehicle, and repair or replacement can be extremely costly. But if you look at some of the OEMs that are bringing electric vehicles onto the market today, they typically have pretty extensive warranty periods. So it's typically around 8 years or 100,000 miles, but it can vary depending on the OEM. And the evidence base around battery degradation is actually much less of a concern than what we initially anticipated. And so, for example, Geotab has done some analysis around battery health and battery degradation with vehicles that have Geotab technology. And we took a sample of around 6,000 electric vehicles, and top line results found that on average batteries would degrade around 2.3% every year. And so if we put that into context, a new electric vehicle that comes onto market with a 200-mile range, after a 5-year period, that range will have declined to 180 miles. And so whether that vehicle is on its first cycle or it may have been passed down into the consumer second-hand market, what we're seeing is that there's significant battery life within the vehicles, that they will be able to operate and do those day-to-day tasks that either a fleet or a consumer will require.